At some point in midlife, many women start to change in ways that surprise the people around them. It even surprises themselves. They stop tolerating things that they used to accept. They want more or differently or less. They become harder to manage and more honest about what they need and what they like and don't like. And this episode is permission to stop apologizing for that. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. Growth midlife is rarely clean or quiet. When you start taking up space that you're entitled to, when you start saying no where you used to be very accommodating, when you choose yourself where you used to disappear or abandon yourself, when you speak the truth where you used to swallow for fear of making others uncomfortable, not everyone is going to celebrate that. And I'm going to say here and now, if you've never read the book, The Courage to be Disliked, I cannot remember the author's name, but I know the title, The Courage to be Disliked. I read it like 3 times. It is a brilliant read on this topic. It's not geared specifically towards midlife women, but it really talks about living an authentic life and how that requires allowing people their discomfort about your choices. So in midlife, absolutely, some relationships are going to feel friction with the changes that you make. Some people will express confusion or disappointment about the changes that you're making or the decisions that you're making. And if you're like the women that I have coached over the years, your first instinct will be to retreat or to apologize, to shrink back, and to wonder if maybe you are being too much. But in my experience, you probably haven't become too much. You're not asking too much. You've become more. You're expanding more into who you were always meant to be. Because the beauty of midlife is we lose tolerance for BS, other people's and our own. And today, we're going to talk about what to do with that. First, I will say that I feel like I coach on this topic a lot because women usually hire me because there's something that they want to change to improve their health and happiness. And we start that work. And inevitably, there is always a call where we have to address other people's discomfort. Because when a woman starts behaving differently, asking differently, showing up differently, it does make others uncomfortable. And there is that friction, right? And when you have lived your whole life feeling like it's your responsibility to make everybody comfortable, that can be a really darn hard thing. So Untamed, which was written by Glennon Doyle, if you're familiar with the book, she writes in the book that the only thing that was ever wrong with me was my belief that I had to hide the things that were wrong with me. She describes how decades of performing acceptability, being the version of herself that others found comfortable, kept her from her own life. And how the process of becoming real, while uncomfortable and at times costly, was the only path to a life that felt like hers. What strikes me about this word performing, right? Or what strikes me about this is the word performing, because so many midlife women have been performing a version of themselves for so long that when the real version of them starts to emerge, which again, I think for a lot of women happens in midlife, it feels foreign, even to them. So here is a little mindset work for you to play with if this is landing for you, if you're experiencing the hardship of other people's discomfort with your own expansion. When the instinct to apologize for your growth arises, and it will, I want you to run through 3 questions before you act on it. First, am I apologizing because I genuinely caused harm? If you did cause harm, of course you should apologize. A real apology for a real harm, that's integrity. Second, am I apologizing because someone is uncomfortable with who I'm becoming? If yes, pause. Someone else's discomfort with your growth is not evidence that your growth is wrong. Let them have their discomfort. And by the way, if you start recognizing that someone consistently has a problem with who you're becoming, I think that's a great filter for who stays in your life and who maybe needs to go. Thirdly, ask the question, am I apologizing to make myself smaller so this relationship feels easier? If the answer is yes, notice what you're trading. You are trading authenticity for approval. And that is a trade with compounding interest. It is a trade that you will never feel good about in the long run. The people who are meant to be in your life as you become more fully yourself will either grow with you or they will make peace with the new terrain. The ones who can only stay if you keep playing small, that is information worth knowing, even when it's painful, and even when you need to maybe complete a relationship. Your growth is not a problem to be managed. It's a process to be honored. And the woman you're becoming has been waiting a long time for you to fully show up, right? Because you've been shaped by everything you've lived, everything you've learned, every choice that you have ever made. The woman you're becoming doesn't need your apology. She needs your deep loyalty. She needs your devotion. Give it to her and see what shifts in your life. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.